True Talk Lounge. Fair use. Fair use. All right, y'all. Y'all done heard about it. Y'all done seen it. I had to wait and gather my notes. I was out eating, me and the fam, and I seen it. And when I seen it, I told my girl, I said, hey, Trey, what if this is to get him elected? What if this is to get the people on his side? But then when the story came through, I heard about shooter, did a little research about him. It's spirits. It's good and evil. Not saying that Trump necessarily is a good spirit, but he is a spirit nonetheless. But yeah, it happened. Got some more footage. I'm gonna try to add on. They see dude climbing on the roof. They see him. I mean, it looked so sloppy. But that show you how the system is breaking, the system is crumbling. Babylon is falling. Yeah. All goes back to the word. Other than that, these some news clips. Shalom. Okay, I am gonna add that clip as a short. So make sure you go check out my shorts on this page so you can see the footage of the guy on the roof and them calling the cops.
Thomas Matthew Crooks. I hate Republicans. I hate Trump. And guess what? You got the wrong guy.
The FBI is naming the suspected shooter as Thomas Matthew Crooks, 20 years old, from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, south of Pittsburgh. The FBI saying this remains an active and ongoing investigation. Overnight, former President Trump arriving in New Jersey, walking down the stairs of his plane, hours after what the FBI is calling an assassination attempt at his campaign rally in Pennsylvania.
Look what happened.
New video shows the Secret Service reacting to the shooting on top of that white roof. A law enforcement source tells ABC News the shooter is believed to be a lone wolf.
We do not currently have an identified motive, although our investigators are working tirelessly to attempt to identify what that motive was.
Law enforcement sources tell ABC News the shooter fired as many as 8 rounds using an AR-style rifle from a rooftop. This video from above shows what's believed to be the suspected gunman, according to a law enforcement official briefed on the investigation. That rooftop is about 400 feet from the stage. The shooting happening minutes into a rally in Butler County, Pennsylvania, north of Pittsburgh. Trump releasing a statement that reads in part, "It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong and that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin."
There's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country.
One spectator was killed, 2 others injured. Pennsylvania State Police say the shots fired were scattered, with the injured and dead spread throughout the crowd.
Breaking news here. Donald Trump has survived an assassination attempt whilst at an election rally. So the facts as we know them so far is that the attempt on his life took place as Mr. Trump was speaking to crowds in the state of Pennsylvania. Gunshots were heard, and Donald Trump was then led to safety with blood clearly dripping down his face. Initially, it appeared that he'd been struck on the outside of his face. He later confirmed that his right ear, the upper part of his right ear, had been pierced with a bullet. It's been confirmed that he was not seriously hurt. The attacker also killed 1 spectator at the rally, and 2 others are critically injured in hospital. The FBI and local police have said that the attacker was killed at the scene. Agencies are currently investigating his motive. He has been identified by the FBI as a 20-year-old named as Thomas Matthew Crooks. No further details, though, have been released about his identity. President Biden has described the attack as sick and said that there is no place in America for this kind of violence. Speaking at a press conference, FBI Special Agent Kevin Rojek gave this update.
This evening we had what we're calling an assassination attempt against our former president, Donald Trump. It's still an active crime scene. As I mentioned, we have a number of agents on scene. We also are working closely with other federal agencies, our state partners, and our local police partners as well. We do not currently have an identified motive, although our investigators are working tirelessly to attempt to identify what that motive was.
That was FBI agent Kevin Rojek there at a press conference earlier. Also there was the Pennsylvania State Police Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens.
So let me describe for you a little bit about the scene that we have over there. As you know, there was a grandstand, a very large area, a lot of people there when this all unfolded. The former president had come out and begun to speak shortly after 6 o'clock this evening. And within about 10 to 15 minutes, a number of sounds were heard, and it became apparent that shots were being fired in that direction. It was a chaotic scene. Law enforcement, I believe, acted heroically, quickly identifying and neutralizing the threat, as well as responding to assist the various victims. PSP had a significant presence on the scene along with all of our federal partners at the time of the shooting. We have since enhanced that presence significantly, bringing in resources from all over the Commonwealth to ensure that we have a speedy, thorough investigation. We are working very closely with the FBI as we work through this. As you can imagine, because of the variety of crimes that have been committed, some are under federal jurisdiction, some are under state jurisdiction. And so, we're working through all of that, not an issue at all. We work seamlessly. But the FBI has maintained the lead on the attempted assassination. PSP will take the lead on the homicide and the shootings of the other individuals in the grandstand area. And so there are a lot of witnesses to be interviewed, a lot of things to be processed. There were some complicators that hopefully the next time we speak we can describe for you, but some complicators that slowed down some of the processing and the positive identification of the shooter. But know that at this time we have no reason to believe that there is any other existing threat out there. We are doing everything we can to make sure that this is thoroughly investigated, and that if there is any information developed that anyone else was involved, that between PSP and the FBI, that will very quickly be followed up on.
And that was the Pennsylvania State Police official there. Our senior North America correspondent, Gary O'Donoghue, was outside the venue when the assassination attempt took place.
And that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple
It was just a few minutes into Donald Trump's speech when a volley of shots rang out. The former president can be seen clutching at the right side of his head. After that, he hits the ground as the Secret Service pile on top of him. Their job to put their bodies between him and the shooter. There was panic among the thousands of people inside the rally. Many ran, many threw themselves to the ground. Donald Trump was seen getting to his feet and raising a fist to his supporters. Signs of blood at his right ear.
We were about 10 minutes into Donald Trump's speech, and while we were just about to go live on the BBC World Service, we heard some shots fired, probably a few hundred meters from where we were standing. probably about half a dozen shots we heard. There was a woman shouting that someone had been shooting. A guy came by and said that he thought there had been a couple of snipers, but he wasn't sure. And we're just waiting to see if things have cleared. And we're just, as you can see, we're on the ground behind our car, which is not ideal, but that's the shelter we have at the moment, and that's what we're trying to ascertain what's happened. I think the speech has stopped. I can't hear Donald Trump speaking anymore.
As people streamed out of the venue, they told us what they'd seen. One man, a local business owner, described how he'd noticed a man he believed to be the shooter climbing onto a low roof nearby, holding a weapon.
We noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle.
A rifle.
We could clearly see him with a rifle, absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on.
President Trump was taken straight off to the local Butler County Hospital. Shortly afterwards, he released a statement paying tribute to law enforcement and expressing condolences for those killed and injured. The statement said, "I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong in that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin." The Secret Service also released a statement which said, in part, a suspect shooter fired multiple shots toward the stage from an elevated position outside of the rally venue. US Secret Service personnel neutralized the shooter, who is now deceased. Condemnations were swift. President Biden had this to say.
The idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it. Everybody. I'll keep you informed, and if I am able to speak to Donald, I'll let you know that as well. But so far, it appears he's doing well.
The Biden campaign is suspending its activities for the time being, though Donald Trump has indicated he plans to go to the Republican National Convention on Monday as planned. In the meantime, investigations will continue. Everyone asking, how could an attempted political assassination be part of modern-day America?